Hi, I'm Tim and welcome to part 3 of my Home Assistant series for 2026. And in this episode, we're going to be setting up this, which is the Sonoff Zigbee Dongle Plus, and it's the USB version. And we're going to be adding it into Home Assistant so that we can then add Zigbee devices into Home Assistant as well. So we'll be using Zigbee Home Automation for this, and this is the official built-in add-on for Zigbee rather than MQTT. But if you want to know how to use MQTT with devices in Home Assistant, then keep a lookout for a future episode where we'll be going through that in detail as well. So let's hop into the computer behind me and get the Zigbee Dongle Plus added into Home Assistant on our virtual machine. So yes, it's running on a virtual machine. So if you've watched part 1, you'll know this. So what we first need to do is pass the Zigbee Dongle Plus plugged into the USB port on our NAS and pass that through to the Home Assistant virtual machine. So let's get to it and I'll show you what to do. So here we are, and I've opened up a web browser, and in the first tab here I've logged into my Ugreen NAS and we're at the control panel desktop. And in the second tab I've logged into Home Assistant virtual machine, which we created in part 1. So what we need to do first is go back to the page with our Ugreen NAS, and then what we're going to do is open up virtual machine. Now I've already plugged the Sonoff Zigbee Dongle Plus into the front USB port. Now it doesn't matter which one you use, but I plugged it into the front USB port so that we get better signal range with it being at the front and not the back in my network rack. So what we need to do is, for the virtual machine, you'll see we've got HAOS1, which is the one I'm using. We click the 3 dots and then we go to Settings. And then what we need to do is go to Advanced. Now, if you're running Home Assistant not on a NAS but other hardware, then you'll probably need to do the same thing if it's a virtual machine, for example. But if you're running on dedicated hardware, then you will not need to do the USB pass-through option. So it should just pick the device plugged into any USB port automatically. But if you're running a virtual machine like I'm doing now, then you'll need to pass through the device from the actual hardware that the virtual machine is running on to the virtual machine for Home Assistant. So what we need to do is, in the Advanced tab here, we've got USB controller and it's set to USB 3, which we did in part 1. And for the USB device option, we need to click Add and then select the device. And as you'll see, it's saying it's Silicon Labs Sonoff Zigbee. So we select this and we just click OK to that pop up. And then all we do is click Apply, and that has now passed through the Zigbee Dongle Plus through from the host, which is the Ugreen NAS, to the actual virtual machine for Home Assistant. So now we can log out of our Ugreen NAS. So close the window and then just log out, and then you can close that browser tab. And then with the Home Assistant one, you'll see we've now got 2 devices discovered. Now the reason it's 2 devices is because it's picked up my Synology NAS as well as the Zigbee Dongle Plus. So we're just going to ignore the fact about the Synology NAS. So what we'll do is, with summaries here, we can click on Devices Discovered, or you can actually go to Settings at the bottom left corner, and then you can select Devices and Services. And you'll see that it's now detected our Sonoff Zigbee Dongle Plus, and that's the 3.0. and it's going to add it into Zigbee Home Automation. So in this video we're using ZHA, which is Zigbee Home Automation, but in another episode coming up soon, I'll show you how to use it with Zigbee to MQTT instead of the Zigbee Home Automation. So what we need to do is click Add, and it will say in the pop-up window, do you want to set up Sonoff Zigbee 3.0 USB Dongle Plus? So we'll click Submit and just wait a moment for the window to change. Now it might take a minute or two to do this, so just be patient and it will change shortly. So here we go, we've got Setup Zigbee. Now there's two options here. You can go to Advanced Setup. This will let you restore from a backup. So if you have a backup and you're restoring, say, Home Assistant onto another machine, you can actually restore the Zigbee network from a backup. But because we're doing this from the start, we'll do Setup Automatically, which is the recommended option. So select Setup Automatically, and then it will say Forming New Network. Forming a new Zigbee network. We scan for a clear network channel as part of this process. This can take a minute. So just be patient while this scans and finds a clear network channel. Now sometimes it might fail, so if it does, what you need to do is, if you can, try and move your NAS somewhere else, or for example use a USB extension cable between the USB port on your NAS and the Zigbee Dongle Plus, so that you can move it somewhere further away from other devices, which will help then scan the channels as well. So if it fails, just go through the step to redo it again, and you might find that it works a second time. And here we go, we've got loading next step for Zigbee Home Automation. And there we go, we've got device created, and it's the Texas Instrument CC2652. Now the CC2652 is the actual Zigbee chip inside the Zigbee Dongle Plus. So don't be confused and think that it's picking up the wrong device. It isn't. That's the actual Zigbee chip inside the Zigbee Dongle Plus. So what you can do now is actually select and give it an area. So all these three areas here are created by default. So you can put the device in an area, but for something like this, I find that just leave the area blank, as it's just something to do with your network. It's not an actual home network device that you're putting into a room, for example, like say a smart plug where you would allocate it to a different room. So it's not something like that. So I just find the area just to leave it blank. So just click on skip and finish, and then it will take you into the Zigbee page here, where it gives you the device information, automations and scripts. So if you want to do automations, for example, with the Zigbee devices, then you would click that plus option there and set up an automation. But I will show you how to do automations in a future video in this series. So now, if you've got Zigbee devices that you want to add, all you would need to do, so under the device info card here, all you would do is click add devices via this device, and then it will put your Zigbee Dongle Plus in pairing mode, and then it will try to detect your Zigbee network devices, such as, for example, smart plugs or smart bulbs or smart lights, whichever you like to refer to them as. So what we'll do to prove this works is I'll get a smart plug it into the wall, and then we'll add a device into Home Assistant. So with the smart plug plugged into the wall socket and switched on, what we'll do is click add devices via this device, and it should then search and find my smart plug, which I've just plugged into the wall. And if you're interested, it's an Innr branded smart plug, so that's INNR, and it's the model number SP242. And I find those plugs really reliable, and they are just Zigbee plugs. So if you want any of those, I'll put a link in the video description where you can find those on Amazon. So there you go. It's said it's device found starting interview. So it's now picked up the smart plug, and here we go. It's now interview complete, and it's now configuring the Innr SP242 smart plug, and now the device is ready to use. So what we can do is, for this, the smart plug is allocate it to an area, and for this case I'll put bedroom where it is located. If we go back using the back arrow, which I've just done, then you'll see it's got connected devices Innr SP242. So if we click on this device, you'll see all the information about the smart plug. So here you can turn it on and off. It also tells you the current there being used, power, and also the kilowatt hours and the voltage of the plug itself. And here you can set the configuration, so power on level, and you've also got the activity there, which we've done. So triggered on and triggered off, and then we've changed the power level, for example, off transition, which was done automatically when it was adopting the plug. So there we have all the information. So if we click the overview, so now from the overview page, which is the top left corner option here for overview, we can then select the room. So we allocated it to the bedroom, if you recall. So we click bedroom, we've got the smart plug there. So we can turn it on and off just by clicking the button or clicking the other boxes here, and it will give us more information. So if you want to add more Zigbee devices, all you would need to do is click settings at the bottom left corner here, and then select Zigbee in the list. And then all you would need to do is select add device. And then it will put your Zigbee Dongle Plus, the Sonoff Zigbee dongle, into pairing mode again, where it will pick up more devices. But if you want to exit out of that, you just click the back arrow at the top here next to add device, and then it will take you back into the previous screen. And if you want to go back to your dashboard, just click on overview. Now you should be able to do this for any USB adapter. So as long as you've plugged the USB adapter into the Ugrid NAS, or if you're using another device, then plug that directly into the device USB port. Then if it's on a virtual machine, just go into your NAS control panel and then open up Virtual Machine Manager and make sure that the USB port pass-through is allocated for that USB Zigbee adapter. And as I've said, if you're using a standalone machine, then you should just be able to plug your Zigbee adapter into your device, and it should then automatically appear in Home Assistant. And like I say, you don't have to use a Sonoff Zigbee Dongle Plus. You can use any USB Zigbee adapter and it should work just the same. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you found it useful, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Bye for now.